The mythical aura of the human being is nothing more than the electromagnetic field manifested by the mathematical relationship of all the atoms in the human body.
It has begun!
The mythical aura of the human being is nothing more than the electromagnetic field manifested by the mathematical relationship of all the atoms in the human body. Chew on that one for a while, buddy. So, when you break down the body mathematically, like that, you would essentially be able to argue that from a mathematical standpoint, the more commonalities two human beings have, say, genetically, those mathematical similarities would create frequency resonance, boosting each other, creating a greater sense of well-being, ease, and comfort in the presence of that individual. Remember from, I don't know, I think I was in 9th grade when I learned it, resonance and dissonance. Resonance is when two waves sync up and they both make each other more powerful, and dissonance is when they, scramble each other. Kind of like a radio. Sorry about that, shifting. The idea of, consider it that way. When you're tuning the FM radio, right, you get away from a strong frequency and things get fuzzy and fall apart, right? But as soon as you tune into that specific numeric frequency, some awesome, really clear, nice, something to listen to. Consider that for the human body. I have a certain genetic code. You have a certain genetic code. Now, I'm just going to stick to the science here. I'm not going to run around like a chicken with my head cut off addressing all your, well, what about this, what about this, what about this, what about this? I'm not your babysitter. Think it through yourself, figure it out yourself. In fact, that's my task for you. If you have any questions, consider it from the perspective I've already granted you, and see if you can figure out a reasonable explanation yourself. So, common mathematical makeups in the human structure create resonance between two humans. The more different those genetic makeups are, the more dissonance it creates. Very briefly, I just described why we have racism and culture. I don't know about you, but I've noticed that in my time on this planet, two black people who've never met each other before in their lives talk to each other as if they grew up in the same room together. However, every culture, every genetic family, if you will, has a very strong aversion to those who are not like it, and a very strong gravitation towards those that are like them. White, black, Hispanic, Islam, Chinese, Indian, whatever you are, those you're most genetically similar to are the ones you resonate with the most, and that resonance balances each of you out. It actually physiologically causes the human form to decompress, go into a greater state of calm and ease, and you actually function on a higher level when you're in the company of those you genetically resonate with. I feel I've just, mathematically described why we have racism. but that's just me. But the genetic relationships, if you will. I've seen this with women that get, well, with teen mothers. They're often raised by single mothers. And when that happens, the girl does not have her genetic father around to bond to. And when you're an infant, that genetic bond is the basis for your lifelong basis for comfort in the company of other people. Quite literally, even though the infant does not have a conscious mind, it is aware that that parent it's with is not its genetic coupling. And so that person will go the rest of their life not being able to bond particularly well with others, because it never had that base genetic bond to begin with. So what happens to, say, a female that grows up without her genetic father? She never feels that genetic connection. What up, Taryn? Nice to see you. I've been rambling on about breaking the body down as mathematics. So yeah, the girl that grows up without a father never has that genetic relationship. She feels that emptiness. So subconsciously, when she becomes fertile, the males start giving her attention. And so this is the attention she didn't get from her father. So even though it's not conscious, somewhere in her subconscious, her body realizes that, hey, one of these men that's giving me attention, if I get knocked up by him, it will trigger his fatherly instincts, and I'll get the father I never had. Also, going back to what I said about genetic families, these girls that get knocked up as teenagers, more often than not, get knocked up by men who genetically resemble their fathers. It's really very simple when when you break it down as math.
Is it over?